Hello and welcome to Talking with Famous People. My name is host Eric, and I'd like to start today's talk with a discussion of privacy. Now, this is something where I suspect I will get a lot of pushback from my comrades here, because most introverts, and I seem to have a lot of introverts who participate in these things, most introverts value privacy highly. And I've made multiple statements along the lines of, I think privacy is bad. So I thought I'd spend a little bit of time today talking about privacy, and beginning with the explanation that just because I think privacy is bad does not mean I don't respect your individual privacy insofar as it is just that, a personal choice. You know, I will respect any other individual's personal choice to remain private in general. I am not seeking to expose things that other people don't want to have exposed. But at the same time, I don't value privacy as a general value. I certainly don't think it's a right. And it causes me some conflict. So the example is, I put a video up yesterday called Time for Formal Goodbye. And it was about my divorce. I had about a 45-second clip of video from the morning's proceedings that showed Candice in it. And it's gotten 2 thumbs down, and at least one of the people who I think is responsible for one of the thumbs down expressed to me, which I greatly appreciate, why on Facebook, although she didn't indicate she was responsible for one of the thumbs down on YouTube. But regardless, she's my friend and fellow debate coach, Samantha Weiss. And she said, Eric, that's not like you. You've always shown me respect. Implying that it was disrespectful to my ex-wife to film her in that context when she turns away and obviously doesn't want to be filmed. Well, I mean, I pointed out, first of all, when she did turn away, I turned the camera away from her. I didn't persist in filming her even though she didn't want to be filmed. Number 2, I pointed out that she has no expectation of privacy or right to privacy in a public space as she's walking around. Although that doesn't mean I wouldn't respect it had she indicated ahead of time. Had she caught me starting to film before I started to film and said, don't film me, I wouldn't have filmed her. Even though it would have been perfectly reasonable and within my rights to do so. And that's out of a sense of just general mutual respect for people. That I'd like to be cut some slack on my irrational shit, and I'd like to cut others some slack on theirs as well. But the most important factor in that video is that's my divorce too. Why is it that her preference for how that divorce gets handled trumps mine? I want to document my life history. I want to make media out of it. I want to convert those emotional experiences into something that has value for me or for others or whatever. Why ought we prefer her preference for personal privacy over the general utility of a video that, I mean, I'm not saying it's, oh, look how useful it is to the world or whatever. I'm just saying some people seem to have enjoyed it. It's gotten a few thumbs up, and why should we prefer one individual's arbitrary preference not to be filmed in a given moment over the net benefits of having that data available? It's really a question of data or no data. So, anyway, I was kind of rough on Sam, actually. I was kind of rough on her on Facebook because, I don't know, she's careless or something. She's a debate coach, she should have known better. But she made her point that I was being disrespectful. I answered her point. She answered my reply without reading it, obviously. She busted out of a reply right away. And in fact, I had spiked her reply. And then I laid the lumber on her. I'm like, well, first of all, you obviously didn't read my reply because I answered that already. And second of all, there's nothing remotely analogous about interaction with you as to the final day of a 14-year relationship. Third of all, she has no expectation of privacy. Fourth of all, it's my divorce too. Fifth of all, you don't even know if she doesn't like the video. She may think it's great that it got filmed, even though she didn't want to be filmed in that moment. You're failing to account for time frame. And she didn't respond for a bit, and I said, well, Hey, Sam, well, you put a pretty trashy claim down upon my table here. Are you going to leave it there or what? She's like, sorry. See, that's at least I'm dealing with a debate coach. She knows when she's got. That's the difference. She's not going to try to fight it. However, that doesn't mean I dispute her squeamishness. And I respect that squeamishness, and I think it's representative of something worth valuing, which is the ability of other individuals to feel comfortable in any given moment, which may preclude their filming, and sometimes. I think they're wrong about that. I think that they just need to get comfortable with it. But regardless, that's where reciprocity comes in. I have to expect others to cut me some slack on my shit sometimes, and so I cut other people some slack on their shit sometimes too. And it's got to be something like that, where it's a personal preference. It's not logical, but it's reasonable to think that we might want to prioritize. Fucker. Fucking flies. I got him too. Huh. Now you're dead. See what you get? That's what you get. Okay, so that's my thoughts on privacy. I will open it to the floor, but I suspect this group of private introverts may not have a whole hell of a lot to say about it. Mega Bros, XX Tech, Ellie, any of you guys want to talk about privacy? Comments on it? Okay. Well, I think that is going to bring this to basically a close. Well, actually, I want to add the following. That from a general policy position, though, individual personal privacy, I respect it out of respect for the individual, not out of respect for the privacy. And on a policy level, it's cancerous. The ability of the government to declare things, of individuals within the government to declare things top secret and stuff like that, confidential and not available for public scrutiny, is appallingly too broad. So, yeah, when you are somebody, if you're out there fighting for a right to privacy and you're saying individuals have a right to privacy, you don't understand rights. You can't have a right to privacy because privacy isn't about a right to do something that you do. It's a right to prevent others from doing something. That's not a right. I mean, look, you can say you have an obligation to not interfere with me, but then that's reciprocal. So then you have an obligation to not interfere with me too. And if I happen to be staring in your window with binoculars or something, then, why should I not be able to do that? Granted, if you have technology that bypasses natural privacy screens like drapes or bushes or something, and you've got some sort of x-ray vision thing that's allowing individuals to have an unfair advantage and violate property rights, which are obviously intended to be maintained, then that's a somewhat different matter. But if you're standing in front of an open window and anybody who could see into the window could see into the window, then there's no presumption of privacy standing in front of an open window. So there's a reason for this, because to presume privacy is to demand that others could violate your rights accidentally. They could look that direction. So we know that privacy is not a right. We know that it stems from property rights or custodial control over a given space. But we want to advocate on a public policy level. I believe that we advocate against any sort of privacy, quote unquote, and we advocate all in favor of transparency. Privacy is something individuals should respect from other individuals. Other than that, it shouldn't be an issue. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.